night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host with the most, Yori Araman Camp from Nassau, Bahamas, along with my beautiful and talented co-host, Miss Kimberly Ramcalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. How are you doing tonight, Kim?
I'm doing there. Talented, I'm not so sure about talented.
Yes, you are talented. You're multi-talented, Miss Ramcalawan.
Yeah.
So how was your day so far, man?
Well, today is May 1st, so that means May Day.
Yes.
Across the region, it's a Labor Day in several parts.
Mhm.
Well, all Labor Day is actually June 19th. Here in Trinidad, the trade unions usually observe the day was a march, and what May 1st usually signifies when it comes to the labor movement.
Okay.
So it's known as International Workers' Day, and a lot has been happening throughout the Caribbean. I know that Suriname also would have observed it. I saw several people out and about during their parade, and some things happened there. Their president, Santoki, decided addressing Labor Day activities that he will be applying more austerity measures.
Oh, Lord. He's looking for more protests, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this morning was already Labor Day there. You know, they would have had their observances. And he says he wants to increase the purchasing power of citizens, but he's also considering increasing the tax-free limit from Suriname dollars, which is 7,500, which is the equivalent to around 200 US. And he spoke a bit about putting in place some increasing the paternity and maternity leave for his workers. So that's one good thing.
Okay, that's nice.
Here in Trinidad, all labor unions would have spoken about a lot of things, especially safety. Employee safety is high on the agenda here in Trinidad, given the increase in crime rates. We would have had the bomb scares on Friday, and the teachers union, they were quite vocal today, saying that they're calling for a lot more to be done. Several schools actually protested this morning, held protests this morning. With regard to their safety. Belmont Secondary School, they came out because I think there was a recent gun shooting, and this morning we even had a gun shooting right outside a primary school. And
yeah. I can imagine that's tragic, man. To have it outside the primary school. Do you think they're ever going to find that bomb scare, the person who had the bomb scare? You think so?
No, but I'm hearing things that it's being alluded to the increase in artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence. People are using those things to create bomb scares and things like that. So we have to be on our guard. These things are moving much more rapid at a rapid rate that we can keep up here, especially in the Caribbean. America and big countries like England, the EU, struggling to get a grip on it, much less small islands like ours.
Yes, indeed. I saw one of the Google engineers had just recently left Google, and they call him the godfather of AI.
Yes.
And he's warning against it now. So everyone who's been involved in this artificial intelligence, they're warning against it. And I think we should listen to them, because they were the ones who created it. And they were the ones who knows how far this thing could go. And it may be already sentient, Kim, who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Every single thing that we do, everything that we talk about, I know that Google hears us.
Yes.
And that they pick up on a lot of things. A lot of the topics that we even discuss here are recorded by Google.
Yes.
And they are able to pick up on it. I usually see the changes with regard to my search engine feed, what's showing up on my social media feed and things like that. Why is this story popping up? It's because I would have mentioned something like this.
Human beings are really stupid, aren't they? Why would you create something that's going to destroy you? Why would you do that?
They think that they technology needed to have a bit of an upper hand, perhaps, in the default of mankind, given the plagues that we recently endured in the last few years. I'm suspecting that. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, they think if we're susceptible to viruses and mutating genes and whatever that's happening out there. So they need something that will be able to help us navigate and keep our economies afloat in the event of all flesh
And they
and
went
blood.
to machine. They went to the creation instead of going to the creator.
Yes. Of course, they are people that dispute the presence or the existence of a higher supreme being.
I know, right? They trust in what their hands made. You trust in what your hands made.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. Anyway, as human beings, for you right there, they're kind of retarded. But back to more live things. So I guess they love Santoki again now. They're not protesting anymore, but now he's asking for another protest by wanting more austerity measures. He has to be out of his mind, isn't he?
I mean, he's saying that the general minimum wage increased from 50 to 75%, which resulted in around something like 30 Suriname dollars per hour. But it's still a lot. It's still a little bit because the average person living there, they've got to at least hold on a few jobs. You know, you have to pay this much taxes. The rate of you know that the dollar is probably worth that their dollars are worth like what 25 or 27. I think it went up to 28 US dollars per Suriname dollar. So that's a very little bit, you know.
That's paltry, some man.
Yeah,
but I guess they really have to dig themselves out of the pit because they're not as fortunate now as Guyana, right?
No, they are actually coming on stream with regard to oil and gas.
Really?
Solely, and they've actually hit quite a good bit of wells in recent months. I think in March month they would have published some recent findings with their oil reserves.
Okay.
They're actually expected to jump on the scene similar to Guyana.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Suriname needs it.
Yeah, they do, but because they are one of 3 nations in the entire world that does not have any emissions. They're actually zero emissions and in the negative when it comes to emissions because of the Amazon.
Yes.
They've got to put in place several things to secure their economy, to secure their environment, and to secure, you don't want people coming in to exploit the Amazon. So similar to what Guyana has to do as well, because without the Amazon, what's going to happen to our planet?
Yeah.
That is a mainstay in keeping us cool.
And that's another stupid thing human beings have done. I mean, what is 80% of the world's oxygen comes from the Amazon? And they're destroying it acre by acre, right? So what are we going to breed when you destroy the Amazon?
Yeah.
It shows you how incredibly destructive human beings are, You
see what has happened in neighboring Brazil. Brazil has endured a good hefty share of the Amazon destroyed by mankind.
Yes.
They've taken it down for manufacturing, processing, agriculture, and things like that.
Yeah. Real estate.
They have not understood the value of it. I know that President Ali would have spoken to trying to really harness the value of the Amazon through the pharmaceutical industry, because you've got flora and fauna, the biotechnics and what have you that study the value of these plants that you can't find anywhere else in the world. I know for a fact one of the drugs that I take it's based on a plant that is found in the Amazon. Without it, I don't know what will be. And if we were to really tap into it, I mean, you tap into the uses, and obviously, I know most people, they create the synthetic ones based on the structure of these plants and replicate it in labs. So that's another thing.
So you're saying the herb is the healing of the nation, Kim?
No, they've got herbs. Pharmaceuticals is derived from bush.
That went over your head, didn't it, right?
What's that? I didn't
say the herbs is the healing of the nation.
The herbs is the healing of the. What kind of herbs are you talking about, Mr. Gary?
Rastafari.
I wouldn't doubt that there's a Jamaican company that's actually big on the scene when it comes to supplying that and actually looking at the value of marijuana. He has been recognized in America and by and large a lot of pharmaceutical companies. And when it comes to research, I think he was even recognized by what's this big award that you get every year?
What?
There's this big award. They award you for physics and literature and math and
Nobel Peace Prize.
Nobel. I think he even won a Nobel Prize
Oh,
in it.
come on, Kim.
He's a
So
nominee.
we would have heard about that in the Caribbean. A
Yes, it
Jamaican,
was actually in 2017.
a Jamaican won the Nobel Peace Prize. The
Not,
Nobel
not, not a peace prize. He
Nobel
was
Prize.
nominated for that.
I'm gonna search it right now, Kim. I found it hard to believe.
You find it hard to believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, if you say so.
I'm searching right now actually because I would have heard that, man. The
20,
Norwegian, the Jamaican Council, blah, blah, blah. I'm not seeing his name, it's not popping up. Bert Fraser Reed, is that his name?
I think so. Let me see.
Yeah, Nobel Prize nominated Jamaican scientist Professor Bert Fraser Reed in his laboratory on the natural products of biotechnology and research. Okay, Bert Fraser. Okay, Kim, you're exonerated. You're saved. I thought you were giving my
But I
listeners
don't remember all
misinformation.
the facts, but I know I would have covered it most
Yeah.
it back in 2017, I believe, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
back in 2019, 2009, actually, it goes way back, man.
Goes way back, right?
Yeah.
But I would have come across him in 2017 when they had CAFA had their pharmaceutical. They actually had a pharmaceutical symposium in Guyana in 2017.
Mm,
CAFA would have had something, and he was one of the main speakers.
okay. That's cool. Bert Fraser Reed. Okay. That's a good name to know. Bert Fraser Reed. We should celebrate him, man, because I never heard about him until you mentioned his name just then. That'll be good. But I guess well, going back to this label thing, but I guess the labor move is being tugging the chains in every Caribbean now because we even had a story around one of our local dailies here where they're talking about raising the minimum age, not the wage, the minimum age of employees on the workforce, on the workplace. So I guess, like you say, May Day is world recognized as World Labor Day.
Yeah, and we're actually having similar talks like that here. They want to move it from 60. Right now, our retirement age is at 60 here in Trinidad, and they actually want to move it up to 65.
65. Okay. No, they're not talking about moving to retirement. They're talking about setting the minimum age for people who could actually start work. I think people could start working when they're 14, and they want to move it up to 16 because they want to do it with child labor and things like that, right? And of course, you know, the grocers and the food stores, they're kind of against it because, you know, where they're going to get their packing boys from. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they have these bunch of, I don't know, they have it in Trinidad and Tobago, right? But they have packing boys. You have packing boys in Trinidad and Tobago?
What's that? Packing
boys. Yeah, packing boys, where you get your groceries and the guys, little boys, and they pack your bags. Yeah. Most of those boys, they're in high school. Yeah, they're between about 13 to about 17.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So if they raise the age, they wouldn't be getting a lot of the young boys who are 16 and over, they don't want to pack bags anyway. So they're too grown for that, but they would most likely want to stock the shelves. And so if you're going to raise the age to 16, you're not going to get the young boys who really want to work and who really need to work and who's interested in working in that kind of environment, right? And so they're up in arms, they're going to cut away their workforce. So I guess it's going to work out because you can't have a 13, 14-year-old boy running around the store, right? Without any kind of supervision like that. Because I don't know if you know about this, but back in 2003, there were 5 of them that went missing in Freeport. There was a serial killer. Yeah. Yeah, it was a serial killer. Cordell Farrington. He's locked away in Foxhill Prison right now. He's locked at Her Majesty's pleasure right now in Foxhill Prison. And yeah, he was just picking him up from the food stores and just killing him, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But here in Trinidad, I actually worked in the supermarkets at age 16. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you were a cashier, huh?
What's that? No, I didn't cash. I actually worked as a CSR in the lanes.
Okay.
And I'd actually be running in the back to the stores to get some things that they wanted. They actually came during Christmas vacation and requested that they wanted some of our students. Now, I envied the guys because they had some guys from my class and schools that I knew. They were the ones that were able to push the trolleys and they got the tips.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. And it taught you good work ethic, didn't it?
It was hard work. Oh my God.
I can imagine, man.
For almost 12 hours. Christmas period was the most brutal. You would actually work from 8 to 8 sometimes. And when I come home, I would soak my feet in Epsom salts. And here's the thing, being a CSR, you've got to look all pretty and nice. Even though you've got the apron on over your work outfit, you've got to be in heels.
Yeah.
You know? You've got to be pretty. and running back and forth in heels. Oh my God, my feet, they endured a lot.
But you learn a valuable lesson about work, man. That's good.
And then as a reporter, I think I began reporting at age 19. So I learned quick.
You started reporting at age 19, Kim?
Yes, I did.
Wow. So I thought you went to school to study journalism. So you started reporting right out of high school?
So right out of school, right, I got the opportunity. I was a writer always. Remember, I think I told you that as a young person, I used to write stories and submit to the newspapers. When in between waiting to go into university, I took a year off and I ended up working in a newspaper. I was actually supposed to study engineering.
Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
I told you I did chemistry and physics and what have you. And I got in, one of my friends put me on to a newspaper that I was opening in San Fernando. I needed a reporter and I went to work as a features reporter. And then it's like, oh my God, this is the easiest, best job ever. Because I'm doing what I love. I'm just sitting down here and writing stories. And writing stories was second nature for me because I always yapped and I always told stories since a little child. So yeah, that's how I started. And then I went and changed my major from engineering when I was applying to universities. And I went into journalism and public relations.
So you think you would have been a good engineer if you really applied yourself to it?
I was talking to one of my friends about this. My husband's an engineer, and I can talk to him about engineering things, but it's a lot of math.
Yeah.
Even if I did it, I really don't like doing that much math, you know?
Yeah, I know how to skim. I know. I did chemistry, physics, and biology when I was in high school as well. I'm nowhere near doing anything with the sciences, right?
But I do cover the energy sector here in Trinidad. It's part of my news beat. Because of my understanding of chemistry and physics somewhat, I am able to cover the energy sector a little bit better. I understand the processes when it comes to the manufacturing, the whole production process, the catalytic refinery and all of that. And when it comes to distilling oil and gas and all of that, I understand it and I appreciate it.
That's good.
And I can have a conversation with my husband, my dad, both of them. And most of the men in my family are working in the energy sector. So I do have an understanding. I'm not at a loss.
So you're saying at the end of the table, soaking up all that knowledge.
Yeah, it comes in handy. Even when Kerry was doing his degree and stuff, and he was doing, I was able to help him a little bit with his homework.
Oh, okay. You were helping him. See, you're telling a story right now. You were helping him with his homework, Kim. You think his professors want to hear that?
What's that?
You think his professors would want to hear that now that Carrie's dissertation was actually Kim Ramkalawan?
No, but I mean, like, okay, like when it came to like chemistry, equations and things like that, he needed some help, and I probably helped him out a little bit in understanding.
There you go. So that's what so analytical.
He would have done his entire papers by himself. No.
Poor Carrie, you're telling on Carrie right now, Kim. He's gonna hear this, you know.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, man. So what else is happening over there, Kim? What else is happening around the region, man? Apparently, did you see the story from the Jamaica Gleaner? That the U.S. Coast Guard, they captured about 480 or so migrants between Cuba, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Did you see that?
I came across something like that. I mean, that's always a hot trafficking area, heading towards Florida. If you have to deploy your resources when it comes to your Coast Guard units and things, it's usually that area heading to America. It's always it's quite a heavy traffic area when it comes to boats making its way and carrying things like that.
Yeah. I caught her right there. Yeah. So they captured about 480 Haitians, Cubans, and Dominican Republic. Do you call them Dominican Republicans?
I believe so.
They're Dominican Republicans? Wow, okay. Dominican Republicans, about 480 of them, over an 88-day period, when they were patrolling the Florida Straits. And out of all of those, they only caught two vessels suspected of drug trafficking, and they captured $100,000. I think that's a small amount, Kim. $100,000, that's all worth of drugs.
Small amount.
That's a small amount, man. The billions probably came in through the other way, that very next day. You know, $100,000 is nothing. U.S. Coast Guard should be ashamed of themselves. They only captured $100,000 in drugs. And drug money.
But it's
Yeah,
something to talk about, though.
I wouldn't even report that. I
It's
wouldn't
something
even
to
report
talk about, and it's something that goes on all countries' record.
that.
You have to keep that in mind at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
The most
$100,000
huge
nothing.
amount is no small amount to talk about.
$100,000 for drugs.
Yeah.
That's a piss
I'm
poor
sure
amount.
they're going to report a few $100 even.
Oh.
I've seen here in Trinidad. I know we report about it. Definitely.
$100,000. We then the bombs we know for $1 million.
If it's to stick a feather in your cap, why the heck not?
Yeah. They catch $1 million, then we're talking some big money. $1 million with the key cocaine. Yeah, that's big money. That's big money. $3 million, that's big money. And that's still small compared to what we know gets into the United States. Because they have an insatiable appetite for cocaine and drugs and meth.
Yeah.
And do you buy the argument that it's really the United States' fault for drug trafficking? That the demand is so high for illicit narcotics that it's not really a Caribbean issue, it's really an American issue. You can you take that line of argument?
So from Latin America to America, yeah. I actually do, because they're like the gateway for everything. Their populations are so large. Why the heck not?
Yeah.
We just get caught in the crossfire, sadly.
Yeah, they must. Yeah. I think that we traffic a small amount compared to what goes through the Mexican border. I think, we traffic a small amount.
Going all the way up from where we have Brazil all the way straight up to Mexico. It's quite a good bit.
Yeah.
And talking a bit about Latin America, I know you had mentioned something about the Panama Canal seeing some drying.
Yeah, they're undergoing a drought. The Panama Canal is drying up. We're gonna have this story in the Caribbean Magazine Plus tomorrow, actually. Yeah, the Panama Canal is drying up. It's going through a severe drought, and some of the ships are already having problems passing through the canal.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a major transshipment point. It's a gateway for a lot of
exactly.
shipments.
Exactly. A lot of shipments coming from China, going back to China. Yep.
Yeah.
It's bigger than the Suez Canal for America, I believe, because the Suez Canal in Egypt is for Europe and Eastern Europe, but the Panama Canal is for the United States and Canada, really. The eastern side of the United States, really. Yeah.
So because of this, they're saying that they were forced to reduce shipping traffic.
Yes. And because two lakes are drying up, the two main lakes that feeds the canal, they're drying up. Yeah. It's crazy stuff, man.
I mean, I'm following the weather from the entire Caribbean lately. They were talking a bit. I know the weatherman that I follow on YouTube. He says that they were supposed to have some rainfall, but I guess in that part of Central America, they're not experiencing much of it because it's more Honduras or even northern, higher in Central America compared.
Yes. Even Nicaragua as well, apparently. Yeah, apparently Central America is undergoing a drought right now. So you just have to pray for them, man. So on one day they're having massive hurricanes, the next day they're having drought. This weather's really...
It's the first time I'm hearing this, because usually I associate them with being a very wet region.
Yeah, because of the rainfalls, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But apparently not. This their season now, a drought and dryness. The earth's changing, man.
I always believe that there was some salt water feeding into it somewhat. I didn't know it was mostly fresh water. I always thought that for some reason that it was influenced by the salt water.
Yeah, I guess a bit of both. It's brackish water. But yeah, the two lakes that are having the feed are drying up. It's amazing, man. Who would have thought? And apparently, I saw something on YouTube just then today. Apparently, another river in the Middle East, a historic river, is drying up. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they're actually finding gold at the bottom of it. I can't remember the name of the river, man. It's not the Euphrates, it's not the Tigris. It's a river.
It's not the Nile.
No, it's not. No, not the Nile. Not the Nile. No, that's Africa.
Okay.
No, there's a river in the Middle East. Let me search it today. Let me search it right now. River in Middle East drying up. And of course they're drawing They're drawing some religious
Religion.
overtones. Yeah,
It's the Euphrates.
it's the Euphrates. Let me
Yeah,
see.
it's the
Yeah,
Euphrates.
the Euphrates river's drying up for years. Actually, yeah, the Euphrates. Yep. And the
We-
Muslims are freaking out.
So
They think Allah's coming back.
it's coming back.
Yeah, and the Prophet Muhammad's coming riding down the white horse. I can imagine how scary that is, man. But they're actually finding gold nuggets at the bottom of it, so it's not a bad thing altogether. They could sell the gold, but you need the water. What George Bush told the Saudi Arabians, they can, if they can eat their oil, let them eat their oil. Because they were trying to raise the price on Saudi crude back in the 80s, and George Bush Senior told him, say, yeah, let them eat the oil. So yeah, eat the gold if you don't want the water.
Eat the gold if you don't want to.
Yeah, eat the gold. Yeah, they're gonna do something. Their scientists need to put their head together, because you can't have the Euphrates River drying up, and that's a historic river, long-lasting river. And they're thinking that that there's really drawing some real parallels towards, some religious activity going to happen very, very soon.
But it's even aligning with something in the Bible. Some people are even alluding to Revelation 16.
Yes. Some real religious overtones, man. But the Quran really ripped off the Bible and the Torah. I wouldn't say ripped it off, right? But a lot of things that are in the Quran is inside the Bible, inside the Torah. They all have the same prophets, and they just decide to change up whatever it is to suit their purpose, right? Like, for example, the story of Esau and Jacob is almost inverted.
Yeah.
And the story of the other story of not Esau and Jacob, but the other story of Isaac and Ishmael. The story is inverted. Yeah. Apparently Hagar was Abraham's wife, and Sarah was
the outside.
yeah, it's amazing, huh? So you think as a devil flipping the story and using Islam to flip the story?
I mean, we know that, but I'm not going to say. I'm just going to.
Yeah, not going to cast any aspersions on any religion, right? I know. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean,
that's something I would do. That's something classes I would do, not you. Yeah, but it's just so funny, man. There's so much like, and there's so different.
Yeah. So I leave them. I mean, I have friends who have the faith and their beliefs. In the end, I mean, we all have our beliefs and what suits us, what we have based on what we have experienced. What I have experienced is my experience with who I call Lord Jehovah, this Christ, and His Holy Spirit, and my faith is based on that.
You're right. You're right for doing that, Kim. Exactly. Jehovah, Lord Jehovah Jireh. Jireh is enough. Boy, there's a song that comes on every morning. Oh, it used to come on every morning, but it doesn't come on every morning now. But every time I hear it, I know I'm going to go through some real hard financial difficulties, man. But God's going to bring me out. That song, Jireh, You Are Enough, from Elevation Worship. Marvin say, Jireh, You Are Enough. Every time I hear that song come on, I say, oh, Lord, the Lord's going to drive me through some horrors right now. I'm going to go through some real financial horrors right now, but He's going to bring me out. I'm going to learn a lesson from it. But man, my goodness, he's going to scare me half to death.
Yeah.
With financial
good enough. The last 7 years have been some of the worst. I was like, okay, it's been enough. 7 years have gone. Time for this to be over.
Yeah. I've been asking the Lord the same thing. Lord, when will you stop? When will it be my time? When are you going to send the rain? When will you send the rain? I ask him everyone, when are you going to send the rain?
You just have to search yourself and you would find out, I guess. Search yourself, see what's happening, But yeah.
I guess He's trying to tell me something about myself I'm just not willing to see. But I wonder what it is, man. How much time is He going to get my attention? What am I missing? I found my purpose. Okay. I was stumbling around until I actually found, okay, I found my purpose now. What else do I have to do? What else is it? What else is about me? Am I narcissistic? Am I self-absorbed? Am I not paying attention to your word? I spread your word every morning.
That's not enough. Not enough. He's saying it's not enough.
I know it's not enough. I know it's not enough.
I'm no judge.
I know you know, Joe, but you're speaking the truth. You're speaking the truth. You have to do more than that. It's more, not just spread the word. You have to actually live the word, and that's why I joined several other things as well. And I think I spoke about this before. I joined the second shut-in committee, where we go and we call people who are second shut-in. We go and we visit. I joined both my churches actually. but I've only been active in my main Anglican church. So I'm trying to keep up with that. I'm trying to do the good thing every day, you know. But I know there's something more I have to do, but it's just so much. It's just so much that he requires of you, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna start preaching again like him. Don't let me do it, Kim, because this is not a preaching show. This is not a religious show, actually. It's a very relaxed show. People tune into us. Someone told me yesterday that they tune into me because they want to hear about what's going on in our day, so they could actually unwind and feel better about themselves. Someone
What's
told me one of my friends told me they listen to us because they want to wind down from the day and they want to feel better about themselves about what's going on with their life. You know, they told me that.
Oh, because we sound so sad and pathetic.
No. They want to hear about something. They say they want to be entertained before they actually wind down for the night. They want to hear about what we're up to see if their day went how our day went. And so yeah. So they listen to us because of that. So they're winding down with us every evening. So that's good. I thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Please continue to watch and please continue to subscribe. Yeah.
I don't think about it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we're not even anywhere close to 1,000 subscribers. I thought we were going to get by now. We're creeping up every other day though. It's going to go viral one day soon, Kim. Just be patient with us. So how was your weekend, man? What did you do this weekend?
This weekend I had, well, it's usual Saturday, Sunday stuff.
Okay.
But this weekend was quite busy here in Trinidad. Both UNC and PNM had their family days and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But what came out of it is that I'm hearing that Reginald Vidal, I think he is part of the Eric Williams Memorial Committee. PNM would have had their a family day this weekend. He is actually calling for the founding fathers of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, to be given the region's most highest award posthumously, because this year actually marks the 50th anniversary of the Treaty of Chaguaramas.
Okay.
So he's calling from leaders from, so it will be Errol Barrow, it will be Burnham from Guyana and Eric Williams, as well as I think it's Manley from Jamaica.
Manley, okay. I thought it was Mr. Manley. Okay, Manley, yeah. Manley Senior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's calling for them to be recognized throughout the Caribbean. And I mean, it's 50 years since CARICOM signed that treaty.
Yeah.
And I think it's only fitting that they should be recognized, right?
Yeah, I agree. He didn't call for Finland. So Linda Finland from the Bahamas.
I'm not sure.
That's an insult.
But again, the treaty, he spoke about, I think, Barbados, Jamaica, specifically those countries: Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
They are the founding fathers of that federation.
Yeah. So they need to have a revision of the Treaty of Chaguaramas, because apparently it's not working. It's not moving anything forward, you know.
I know there's always a revised version of the treaty, and perhaps we might see something come out of it later this year. It's 50th anniversary. I'm hoping that they do get their agenda together and we see something, you know.
Yeah. I think one of your compatriots said, what's the name? Mala Dukaran said these guys can't agree on anything. They take months to come up with one single document, one single statement.
Communique usually takes, I mean, we've got to wait so long to see something. I'm surprised at the last one. Okay, you would probably get some notes, the footnotes of what occurred or what transpired from their chairperson's meeting, you know, from crime, things like that. But to actually agree on it, and I always look at it from the situation of each member state. You know, okay, how's it? They probably have to internalize it and say, okay, how is this going to affect my policies? What is going to entail for me to take to my parliament and what have you? So they're looking at it and they're probably carefully drafting it, just like how we were hoping after the meeting in February that they would have made a more firm decision when it came to Haiti.
Yeah.
You know, and we were really looking forward to something a little more solid coming out from Jamaica and, you know, leading the way. When you say these things, it's nice punchlines, it's nice headlines that you give us.
Oh, Kim, you sound like me now. You're sounding skeptical like me now, right? I told you it's nothing but punchlines and bluster, you know?
Yeah, to get us all hyped up and we're hopeful, you know?
Yeah. And then they're good at that, you know. You have to be careful of these fellas, man. Especially the ones who like to recite the problem. A lot of them like to recite the problem. I realize that with them, man. They tell you the
Recite.
problem in some glittering general. Oh, like the water is wet and the water's being wet since God sent the rains down. We know that already. So how are you
Yeah.
gonna fix the flooding?
I mean, what the latest one to come off from by us is when we hosted the regional symposium on crime a few weeks ago,
Mm.
and our prime minister would have gotten up and said that we're going to ban AR-15s, but it's already banned.
It's already banned already.
Already in our legislation, and a lot of people would have called him out. Lawyers came out, they took out pictures of the Constitution and said, "Look, it's there."
uh,
And the thing is, everyone is saying, "Oh, and the rest of the curriculum clapped and in support," but it's already banned. It's already an illegal item for us in this
I'm
region.
glad you guys didn't let him get away with that. I'm glad you didn't let him get away with that. It's already
I
banned.
mean,
I saw the story. You know, I think one of your former top police officers came out and said, but AR-15 is already banned. What are you talking about?
yeah, Gary came out and he actually held one and he said, "No one has ever been able to legally bring in one of these inside of the country. No, murders are happening by these.
Mhm.
They're coming in though. They're already legal. They're illegal, but people are. They're getting in the hands of the miscreants, and it's being used to kill people."
Yes. Are handguns illegal in Trinidad?
You have to have a firearm user's license.
Yeah.
You are.
So it's legal. Okay. But handguns are banned altogether inside the Bahamas. You can't even get a license for it.
Really?
Yeah, only certain officials like judges and senior police officers and politicians can get a license, but like a regular shop owner can't get a handgun license.
Some people, you've got to have a reason to validate why you're getting it.
Yeah.
If you're part of the protective services, you're allowed to have one, obviously, but to have it with about 2 years ago, they started to have a lot of murders of our prisons officers. So our prisons officers were being targeted from inside of the prison. So people would actually call hits on our officers because they were not complying to their request, smuggling things into the prisons. And they actually put out a list of names calling these hits, and several of our prisons officers were murdered during broad daylight. And they were calling for firearms. They actually went to Parliament here in Trinidad calling for firearm users to be given to prisons officers, that they be included in part of the protective services to have a gun. Right? Okay. And interesting part of it. So if you're flying out, if you're traveling or doing anything, you have to surrender your weapon to the police service. You return, you are able to get it back. You can't just leave it lying around, otherwise you will be accused of something.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. You'd be accused of all kind of dastardly deeds, man.
Yeah, suppose if someone comes in and decides to use it, and you're not here, so you sign for it. But I've got those measures at least. Okay. But it makes it right now it's very difficult for the average person to get it. And I can understand reasoning behind it. You've got to go through a lot of mental evaluation if you want to get a firearm.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think it's up to the pleasure of the commissioner actually to deny a firearm if people see. And there's no real appeal. Once he denies your firearm, that's it. But
last week, actually, a judge overturned something, and guess what? The commissioner of police actually overturned a judge's ruling to return a firearm to someone.
Yeah, it's in his pleasure. Like, he has the right to do it. Yeah.
But they actually saw it as being vindictive and spiteful, and it was political interference. Yes, because of the person that it involved.
So why didn't they cite the commissioner of police for contempt? If that was the case.
There are actually calls with that. The judge actually called out the police commissioner on it, at least when in the court, and they questioned it. So we'll see what comes out of it. Right now,
I'd like to see how it plays out, because that seems like an interesting case. Because from what I understand, the commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago, he has the right to approve or deny anybody based on whatever it is, on his pleasure. and no court can intervene with that.
Because of political affiliation. And the person that they denied it was actually a known person for providing arms to our defense service. So it's no secret who the person is. It's no secret the business that they're involved in, and yet this was being done. So it was viewed as being something of a victimization, a target, specific target. Political to an extent, actually.
Okay. That sounds kind of confusing. That's like most of the things.
Yeah, all of those things are in play right now because you're seeing the executive and you're seeing things interlocking with each other and in ways that it should not be interfering or coming in contact with.
I know, right? But
so, yeah,
that's life in the Caribbean. But otherwise than that, man, I had a great weekend as well too, Kim, man. I went jet skiing and parasailing. This is my second time going parasailing, but the first time going jet skiing. I had so much fun, Kim. Yeah, I see why the tourists come and they enjoy our water sports, man. Trust me, being on that jet ski is so much fun. I can't swim a lick. Now, every time I was getting up to a certain speed, I was like, "What do I tip? What if I capsize and I fall into the water and I can't swim? I'll drown on the jet ski."
But you've got your life jacket on, so you should.
Life jacket. Yeah, but I don't trust no life jacket. Can you still get drowned?
I don't trust the life jacket.
Then I'm so far away from all the people. Who's going to come to me and help me out? I'm so far out in the sea, right? And man, I had fun. I can't swim, but I had fun. I went around the entire Paradise Island. That was an amazing adventure, man. I enjoyed that immensely. I'm going to do it again, actually.
It was exciting and really.
Yeah, man, it was so much fun. Like, I was jealous when I saw these guys on the jet ski. They pop up on the jet, and they were having so much fun.
The adrenaline boost, huh?
Oh, absolutely. And I did the parasail as well. Again, I did the parasail before. I did it again on Saturday. Yeah, it was fun, man. I was 30 feet in the air. And the guy who was doing the parasail tour said I could have gone up to 600 feet if I wanted to. I said, 600 feet? Really? For a parasail? That's unbelievable. I can't believe you're going up 600 feet on a parasail. Yeah, we have enough rope for 600 feet. That's crazy. I said, you should have told me that, man. You should have told me that. I would have gone up as high as I could.
The thing is, if an airplane is coming down by you guys.
yeah, I'd be so high I could have kissed the sky, man. I could have caught a bird.
Oh wow, no.
Yeah. But that was amazing, man. The adrenaline rush, and I felt it in my toes, man. I felt so much, that tingling in your stomach. Oh, I felt so much thrill, man.
Wow.
I want to try rock climbing next, man.
You went from a tingling into your stomach to a thrill. Wow.
Yeah, there's that tingling feeling in your stomach when you feel that excitement and you feel that adrenaline rush, when you feel that bit of fear, and that you don't have any control of what's going on, but you're just loving it. I have that feeling, man. That's a sweet feeling, Kim. Trust me, there's no feeling like it, and you want more of it. It's like a high.
It's a high. Yeah, I could understand that. I know some people, they take that. I get highs off other things, probably.
Yeah.
I know that you also had the short story entries on Saturday.
Spoke to them on Saturday as well. Yeah, he spoke to the top 3 finalists. David Hamilton from Trinidad and Tobago. He won the Caribbean Magazine Plus Short Story Competition. Yep, David Hamilton with his entry, Kyle. It was really humorous take too. Actually, I found that most Trinidadian writers, they're kind of humorous. Is that part of the culture where they take a bit of wit and humor to their writing?
I think so. I mean, I heard David talk a bit about the influence of V.S. Naipaul, Sir V.S. Naipaul, and Samuel Salvon. Mm-hmm. They're known for a kind of witty humor, smart humor in their books. If you've ever read any of their novels, my favorite is The Mystic Monsieur and Miguel Street. Now you'll understand it and you'll appreciate it a lot more from a Trinidadian perspective, because it's about our culture and it's about our twang, the way we speak, our dialect. Our dialect is heavily influenced in their books, V.S. Naipaul's books. And it's very relatable. It comes during, I think, shortly after World War II, if I'm not mistaken. And there's quite a heavy Yankee presence, what we call Yankees, the Americans, when they set up bases here in Trinidad. So they were here. And it was during the colonial era as well, where the Queen was still our ruler. and Pan, and you did this, the way that they told the stories and the characters and the nicknames for every person. There's the nicknames of the characters on your street and what they do and things like that. It
Oh, it was
really
a true story.
gives life to
Mm.
true Trini living and tree stories, you know?
Now I see where Lexo Street gets his humor from.
Yeah, so that's really when you read a V.S. Sniper book,
Mm.
it's really how we live. It's really
Mm.
how we tell stories here in Trinidad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking up. I'm gonna go do it, man. But you should go and read Kyle on the Caribbean Magazine Plus. It's right up on the website right there. All the entries up. So David Hamilton was the first one. Then the second place finisher was Mark Yard from Barbados, from his story To Kill an Alsatian Hound.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said he was inspired because he heard a domestic violence dispute upstairs.
Yes, I heard him talking a bit about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
So,
trauma that got caught up in his mind after
yeah.
hearing.
And his mime and recent, yeah. And apparently he's a student at the University of West Indies too. He's a student of literature. Yeah. Mark Yard. I guess we're gonna hear a lot about him moving forward, you know. Because he's a brilliant. Yeah. Then we had the third place winner, Miss Victoria Wilscombe from the Bahamas, with her entry Granddads and Pearls. And that was an entry for kids, really. It was it's children's story, really.
Okay.
It really caught the attention of Dr. Nicola Hunt from the University of West Indies, who's been a gem to us, Kim. Man, she's a sweetie pie. And she's going to do one more evaluation for us, one more short story contest for us. So the next one, she's going to do that one as well. And afterwards, she promised to give me someone who's going to help me out to do more of the evaluations. And
so how many participants in total did the short story competition yield?
we got I think it was about 50 or so entries. It wasn't really enough. It wasn't a lot, but it's enough to really get some good entries in, right? We were hoping for, yeah, 50 is good. We wanted 1,000, man. We wanted 1,000. Yeah, we wanted 1,000. Yeah, that's our target.
You'd have to get a lot more literature professors and intellectual.
I know.
Really
We wanted big. We wanted big, Kim. We wanted to be bigger in the Commonwealth Short Story Contest, man. We wanted big. We have big dreams, man. We wanted big. You know, because this is what is needed for this region, you know, because we have a lot of writers, we have a lot of poets, and we have a lot of artists, but there's nothing for them to actually showcase their talent on any given day, man. You know, in any given month, they need to have a chance to showcase what they can do. I find that our poetry contest is very, very popular now. You know, we're getting interest from all over the place, man. Everybody loves their poetry, right? Everyone thinks they could rhyme. And so we encourage them to come and join the Caribbean Magazine Plus Poetry Contest. And we're going to launch that next week, Tuesday, actually, May 9th. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah. So that's going to, and what we're doing special for this poetry contest, we're going to invite groups. Okay. So it's not going to be a single entry anymore. You could be a single entrant if you want to, but we're going to invite like schools. If you have like a language, like the grade 9 English literature class, you say, if you want to get 10 from here, we're going to give you a reduced price. We're going to let you send your 10 entrants in. We're going to let the school and the institution pay for it. And this year also, we're also going to donate most of the proceeds to the Children's Emergency Hospital here in the Bahamas. So it's going for a good cause. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to donate most of that money to the Children's Emergency Hospital to have the young kids in that institution to have a better life, you know. Yeah. I spent my first birthday there with them, you know, at the Children's Emergency Hospital. Even though I was not a ward of the Children's Emergency Hospital, right? But my mother saw fit because we used to live right across the street from it. So she said, my first birthday, I was going to enjoy with the kids at the Children's Emergency Hospital. I remember that birthday so well. I took my cake. I remember so sheepish and so shy. And they welcomed me with open arms. Say, hey, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, they love me with open arms, man. I didn't realize they only wanted my cake, right? But still, though, that's my first birthday memory I ever had. At the Children's Emergency Hospital back in the early 80s.
I mean, a lot of hospitals across the Caribbean really do tend to needy cases. Yeah. That stories right now here in Trinidad where people actually abandon their children if they can't afford them.
Yeah.
And they become out of the state and it's actually the nurses and doctors that take out monies out of their own pockets to help them out. Basic things as socks is appreciated in donations here. So.
But Kim, wouldn't you prefer that than for someone who doesn't want a child to be taking care of a child? Wouldn't you prefer that?
What's that?
That if they can't really take care of the child, they can really give the child up. Wouldn't you prefer that?
Yeah, I prefer that, but it's the manner in which they do it. And sometimes, you know, the children usually come in with injuries from abuse.
Thank
abusive.
God before they died or before they were murdered. That's good.
Yeah, and it's really sad. And then they're abandoned, and then no one comes to pick them up.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're babies, and it's really sad.
I
It's
guess they're
really,
probably crying for their mother and their father, right?
yeah. But I mean, it's up for the state to come in and do a little more than just leaving them in the hospitals.
Mm.
Growing up in a hospital among sick people is no place for any child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
That's a real situation.
yeah.
At least here in Trinidad, I know that we have many other situations across the Caribbean,
Mm. But abuse kids, abuse children. You know,
And then we also have, children who suffer from cancer. When you hear children getting cancer and having to endure that level of chemo and treatment, it's really heartbreaking. And to see
yeah,
children suffer that much,
yeah.
that even having their parents, but seeing your parents' pain and trauma, you've given birth to this baby.
Mm.
You anticipated them growing up and being part of your life, and then to be hit with this kind of level of illness.
Yeah, yeah. And only God knows, Kim. Only God knows what he's going to do with us on any given day. So we just have to praise him all the way up, man. Because only he knows. And our pain is for his glory. And so we just have to take it like that. There's a lot of things that we can actually take from this, And actually, I pray for poor people every morning, When I say pray for poor people, they give us an example of what to do and what not to do, and how to see them, and how to adapt our lives so we can be better. We can see ourselves reflected in them, so we don't end up like them, and so we can actually give praise to God for it, because everyone has a story. Everyone has something they could give to this world, whether you're a child who's 5 years old who's been abandoned by his parent, but that doesn't mean that's the end of you. Once you're still here, God still has a plan for you, man. Still has a plan for you. So once you take it like that, you shed your little tear and you realize God is still in control. And who knows, that abandoned young man could be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago one day. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I don't have a dispute anything like that.
Yeah.
And it really takes the heart out of a human being even to go through the whole adoption process and welcoming a child that was abandoned into your own family and loving that child and bringing up that child as your own is another.
Yeah.
It really takes a heart of gold, I think, for someone to do that.
Do they run you guys through the ringer as well to adopt a child? Like you have to go through so much checks and balances, and that they have you waiting for years to adopt?
Yes, it's actually like that here. They want to make sure you have a solid financial footing.
Yeah. It's like that here too, actually. It's really like that here too. They really, especially with parents who really looking to adopt, they are more harder on a single mother who's looking to adopt and a single father who's looking to adopt than anybody else. They would give to a large family who already has adopted 1 or 2 kids before, and then they give to a single parent who really will want a parent, or a couple who don't have any kids, who would really want to adopt a child. They would be more hard on that family than to give it to anybody else. So, yeah, I know it's heartbreaking, man. But I say if you have someone who's interested, try to vet them as best you can, so you don't put that child in another situation where they're going to be abused and abandoned again, and try your best to keep up with them, because we still, I don't know about in Trinidad, but here we're still dealing with corporal punishment. We're still having conversation whether or not we should allow corporal punishment inside the schools, and people just can't keep their hands on one another, man. For some reason, we think that, fists and belts and whips are what we need for each other. And that's really the Caribbean way. Is that the same way in Trinidad? That people leave corporal punishment?
Corporal punishment has been eradicated over 20 years now.
Okay.
And the talk of using the whip to correct your children has been it's kind of gone in a certain way. Only certain people will still beat their children. It's not like that. They've encouraged other methods of disciplining your child outside of them.
Yeah. We're still grappling with that, man. You can talk to some groups, you can talk to a lot of what you call these civic groups, and some of them still believe in corporal punishment, man. They still believe that spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yes, I know of the Bible scripture. That's a belief widely held here in Trinidad. But a lot of parents and a lot of people today, they see it as in, okay, I experienced this harsh way of being treated and disciplined as a child. I don't want that for my own child. I know
Mm,
the bruises and what the damage, the emotional torment I went through as a child getting that much licks.
mm,
And this is what most people say. And I'm not going to put my own child through that.
mm. Yeah,
But
yeah,
and if you're going to discipline them, you're going to find ways,
yeah.
not to that extreme factor of beating them until, they near dead.
Black and blue. Yeah, the near death. Exactly, near death, man. And some
You
people,
must
they just go
go.
overboard. They don't know when to stop.
Yeah, they take out their anger and their vengeance and, on this poor child. I mean, we still hear stories quite often in the news.
Mm,
And the sad thing is we actually hear people doing these things to babies.
mm.
Father is beating a baby, a 1 year old. What is a 1 year old? No, what is a 3 year old? No, it's
Yeah,
not their fault if they do certain things,
yeah, yeah. They don't know any better, man.
you know. So it's things like that, and that's when the state usually steps in. You've got the Child Protection Agency, and
Yep.
you've got the Children's Authority here in Trinidad,
Mm,
and they usually have to step in from the units that have been given guidance from the police service.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. And speaking of the Children's Emergency Hospital, we had a scandal with the Children's Emergency Hospital 2 years ago, where the caretakers in the Children's Emergency Hospital was administering corporal punishment to the kids in there, and was caught on video. And so they
Wow.
were dealt with. Yeah, yeah. It was a wild scene, man. Everyone said, but these kids came there for your help, and that's why you have this thing. It's only until people really see what corporal punishment is that they become outraged, because they say, "Oh, I could just spank my child, I could just whip my child with my belt," right? But until you see it, then the national conscience realizes that, hey, we can't have corporal punishment anymore. It's not until they're actually shocked by it, until they see it, and they say, "Oh, we shouldn't have this," But they'll talk a bunch of talk, right?
Yeah.
They think only them, only me can really beat my child. But when you see it, when you see someone taking the whip or taking something to a child, then you realize, oh, this is too far. This is going way too far. We shouldn't do
Yeah.
that.
I remember going to school. In my days at school, I saw girls come to school, and when they lift up their coveralls,
Mm.
unzip their coveralls, you see their backs wheeled.
Yes, 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 yes.
Parents did this to these children,
Mhm.
girl children too.
Did it solve anything?
No, it did not. It just made them more traumatized and
I know,
troubled.
right? And they went and they did the same thing and they got beaten for, right?
I mean, they didn't. When I hear what they did, it's like, but they did nothing. I would tell my parents, they did nothing. My
Mm,
friend Patricia
mm,
or Catherine, she didn't do anything to get that.
mm, mm.
So
And some of these parents are really to blame. They are to blame for some of their wayward kids or what they're beating their kids for. If you're not monitoring your child, you can't beat them when they're 12, 13 years old. Where were you when they were 7, 8, or 5 or 6? When they were really forming their mindset. So you're gonna really take a whip to a 16-year-old girl who decides to sleep out. Where were you when they were 7, 8 years old?
girls that were 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's even
They
worse.
were young children, they're babies still. When I look at children, and I honestly consider a child a baby until they're like 12. I
Yeah.
see that. I mean, I've babysit. I have, two pairs of twins in my family, and I, took care of all six of them.
Yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
take care of them, you realize, hey, they're babies until they're 12. I remember some of them. It's like, okay, and I still look at them. They're taller than me now, and they're adults, but I still see that's forever a baby.
Babies. Yeah.
Once you've taken care of a child, they'll forever be a baby if you
Yeah.
really love them, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. And Kimmy, we're up on our time right here, man. It's 9:29. So
Yeah.
this hour goes by so quickly, man. Till it's not even funny, man. We had a good chat tonight, though. We had a very good chat. Yeah, we went from a lot of situations, man. So yeah, we had a relaxing night. So we're gonna do our show again on Wednesday, but it's gonna be a different format. I am going to be in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm going to be doing it remotely from Boulder, Colorado. I wouldn't have any camera on because I don't have a camera on my second laptop, but Kim will have a camera on. We're going to have the same kind of lively discussion that we have every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Okay. So we want to tune in for that. Okay. So, Kim, any final thoughts?
I'm just going to think about we're not going to see that hat on Wednesday.
My hat. No, you're not going to see my hat. No, my nifty little straw hat. My
Yeah,
crown.
the facial expressions of Yori.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, thank you for joining me again tonight, Kim. I really appreciate it, man. So this is Yuri Camp again from LimeVibe Live. I want to thank you again for joining us for another episode of LimeVibe Live. So please join us again on Wednesday. As I said, we're going to have a special show on Wednesday. So you want to tune in for that. And so if you have not done so already, you could subscribe to our YouTube page, that's LimeVibe, or our Facebook page, LimeVibe. Click like and share any of the videos. It really helps us out. So please, we're steadily growing our numbers inch by inch. It's not exploding the way I thought it would be, but it's really growing steady and sure. So we want to encourage all the people from the Caribbean, all the people from the Caribbean diaspora, even the Africans as well. So to please, anyone who has an interest in the Caribbean on Central America, please like and subscribe to our YouTube page, our Facebook page, and you can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night for our live shows. And you can also go back to our archive and check out previous episodes and you watch some of our content. So this is Yori Kemp again from LimeVibe Live. Thank you once again. Good night.
Good night.